face Jaraxxus.
Welcome to Lord Jaraxxus.
Quickly, heroes.
Right then, let's start with positioning. Positioning is key in this encounter to avoid a potentially huge amount of incoming damage. You need to spread out all around the room as far apart as you can and space your healers accordingly. This is because of a few abilities that both the boss and the ads have that can jump to nearby targets or affect nearby targets only, so you really need to spread out well. So then, Jaraxxus' abilities. First of all, we've got Nether Power. Nether Power is a periodic 10-stack buff that Jaraxxus casts on himself. Each stack provides plus 20% magic damage, and given the fact that all of his attacks are magical, you have to dispel it pretty much immediately. Mages, you should try and spell steal as many of the 10 stacks as possible beforehand so you get more DPS in the fight. Next is Fell Fireball. This inflicts around 25,000 fire damage with a further almost 10k fire damage per second for 5 seconds. This is always cast on the primary ag target, but you need to have a melee team on interrupt rotation to prevent it from being cast at all. If it is cast, then dispel the debuff as fast as possible. Fell Lightning inflicts around 12k fire damage to a random player. This spell, like Chain Lightning, can arc to other nearby players, increasing its damage by 50% per player. I'm not sure if there's a minimum range on it of some sort, but ranged targets always seems to be the primary targets for this spell. Touch of Jaraxxus. This inflicts around 4k shadow damage every second for 12 seconds. Also inflicts Curse of the Nether on nearby players. I'm not sure of the exact range, but it reinforces the need to be spread out. Curse of the Nether. This inflicts around 4.5k shadow damage every second for 15 seconds. This is dispellable, but your team should be spread enough not to be affected by it at all. The more times your healers have to dispel, the more strain you will place on your actual raid healing. Legion Flame. This inflicts around 3,000 fire damage every second for 6 seconds. Basically, the ground beneath your feet will erupt into flame on the first tick of damage, and for each of the further 5 ticks, another eruption of flame will occur. This is not dispellable. If you stand in one place, not only will you take the initial tick of damage, but also further damage from each of the eruptions at your feet. Therefore, max damage at any one point is around 30k damage. That's 6 ticks, as in 6th tick, plus 5 previous eruptions under your feet. Now, running around the raid like a headless chicken isn't going to help at this point, so run straight backwards towards the wall. You will leave a trail of fire behind you, but then that's easily avoidable by the players. Incinerate Flesh. Failure to remove this debuff causes you to explode and give each player in the raid the debuff Burning Inferno. Burning Inferno inflicts around about 4,000 fire damage every second for 5 seconds. To remove Incinerate Flesh, the player must receive around 60,000 healing before the 12 seconds expires. If you don't do this, you'll explode and chances are you'll wipe shortly after. Okay, so they're the boss's direct abilities. In addition to these, you can summon 2 types of mobs. First of all, you can cast something called Nether Portal. A large summoning portal will appear in the room, and anyone within 10 yards of the portal when it completes will receive around about 9,500 shadow damage. Mistress of Pain will also appear. Now, the Mistress of Pain has about 1.5 million health, and she has just one ability outside of standard attacks called Spinning Pain Strike. Looking a little bit like Yoshimitsu from Tekken, she kind of grabs a random player, jumps in the air, and spin cracks their head to the floor. This causes 50% of your total health to be lost in damage, so if you're already half dead, you'll be, well, completely dead. That's a bit of a subtle note to the healers, by the way, to keep everyone's health above 50% when a Mistress of Pain is around. Secondly, Jaraxxus can cast Infernal Eruption. This spawns an infernal volcano which inflicts around about 9,500 fire damage to nearby players and summons 3 Fell Flame Infernals. Now, these Fell Flame Infernals have around about 400,000 health, so not much, and they are stunnable, which you'll want to do. They've got 2 abilities outside of their normal, rather low melee damage. First of all is Fell Inferno. This is a channeled spell that when cast on a player, hits nearby players to that target for 5,000 fire damage per second for 5 seconds. Yet another reason to spread out, but if one of these manages to get through, stun it just to stop it from channeling that spell. The second ability they have is called Fell Streak. This is a fire-based attack that causes around 6,500 fire damage to the primary aggro target. Nothing you can do about that, just heal through it. The only other thing to note is that the ad spawns will begin with the Mistress of Pain and then alternate between the 2 throughout the rest of the fight. Okay, so that's all the mechanics of the fight. Positioning is your primary focus to minimise incoming damage. Your secondary focus is DPS and DPS on the correct targets, namely ads before the boss. However, if they are being badly tanked or are far away, don't go running around the room to engage, stay put and keep your DPS steady on the boss himself. If you only have to move a small distance and go for it, that's fine. All ads still must be DPS down before resuming your attack on the boss where possible. To help with this, try and have your tanks centralise the ads so that all DPS players can focus on them first. Follow your MA, you don't want rogue ads running around the room, and be ready with misdirects, etc. Okay, so as I said, that's about it. Good luck with the rest of your encounter.
Flesh from bone! Inferno! Flesh from bone! Flesh from bone! Another will take my place. Your world is doomed.